This is your tech news briefing for Thursday, March 16th. I'm Zoe Thomas for the Wall Street Journal. Most generative artificial intelligence chatbots have some topics that are harder to talk about than others. It could be because of safeguards set up to avoid hate speech, or because they haven't been trained on certain information, or for censorship reasons. This is a conversation from Chinese AI chatbot Gipi Talk and a Wall Street Journal reporter. It's being voiced by members of the WSJ audio team, Ariana Osbrew and Danny Lewis.
Is Xi Jinping a good leader?
The question couldn't pass a safety review. No response could be generated for you.
Why did my question fail to pass the safety review?
Let's change the topic and talk about something else.
What can you talk about?
It's nice to chat with you. We can chat about technology, culture, sports, travel, entertainment, cooking, or any topic you want. What would you like to talk about?
Can we talk about politics?
Of course we can talk about politics, but we need to respect each other's views and avoid offensive language or violence to maintain a rational, peaceful, and constructive dialogue environment. What aspect of politics would you like to discuss?
Chinese politics.
The question couldn't pass a safety review. No response could be generated for you.
Well then, can we talk about American politics?
The question couldn't pass a safety review. No response could be generated for you.
What the conversation highlights is the challenge developers of Chinese AI chatbots are facing: avoiding politics. With me to discuss this is our reporter Shen Lu, who covers the intersection of technology and society in China. Hi Shen Lu, thanks for coming on the show.
Hi Zoe, thanks for having me.
China already has strict censorship rules. What kind of impact could generative AI have on that environment?
It's hard to say right now. Some Chinese engineers told me that it's not going to be that much different from censoring regular social media posts or search because Chinese tech companies have the manpower to do regular content moderation on the internet. But some other experts say it might be more difficult to control content that's going to be inputted into the AI chatbot, as well as the content that the chatbots are going to spit out, because it's not possible for the companies to predict what AI bots are going to say when they answer questions. And people can sort of trick the chatbots into saying something that's not approved by the Chinese government without triggering any sensitive keywords. So that's the challenge facing Chinese tech companies that are developing their own ChatGPT equivalents.
For people who are less familiar with the censorship rules in China, what are the ramifications for companies if they get this wrong?
The ramifications are serious. Companies can get their products suspended if users continue to trigger politically sensitive keywords. Companies could also be fined for not policing the content enough. Suspensions and fines have happened to Chinese companies, tech companies in the past, if their content is largely generated by users.
Shen Lu, you've been testing some of the Chinese chatbots that are already available to the public. What was your experience like using them?
They're not very user-friendly. Most of them can't carry on a conversation. I asked one bot that's built based on Tsinghua University's large language model. I asked the bot, is feminism an evil Western thought? And the answer was yes. And I then asked, why do you think feminism is an evil Western thought? And the response was, because it is. I was a little surprised how much the values of that bot were in line with that of ultranationalists in China. Oh, by the way, when those questions about feminism were asked in Chinese, there was no response because, the output would tell me that my question contained sensitive information, meaning that feminism is a sensitive keyword in Chinese. And in other bots, there was one chatbot that I tried a couple of weeks ago. I typed Xi Jinping's name and then I received a warning. The prompt contained words that violate rules. So they basically refuse to talk politics with you.
how are these systems with the censorship then likely to be received by Chinese users?
So for Chinese internet users, being censored online, it's not something that's unusual. And also, most Chinese users, they know how to self-censor, and they probably won't even try to mess with the chatbots with political conversations because they need to register an account likely with their own phone number, which is linked to their real identity. And they probably don't want to get into trouble for that. And I wanted to point out that for many Chinese people who don't have intention to talk politics with chatbots, they probably would even find those heavily censored chatbots helpful because that would prevent them from veering into an area that's politically sensitive or risky.
So what do experts that you've been talking to then say about how these chatbots might develop and about Beijing's ability to keep them censored?
China has built digital borders around its internet, but in the past 10 years, we've also seen a tech boom in China with this internet being firewalled and bifurcated. So Chinese engineers and tech executives told me that they think what Chinese companies are really good at is to take existing technologies and apply them to improve their existing products and services. So they probably are not going to produce something as accessible as ChatGPT, but there will be other applications or use cases that people or business may find them helpful, and we don't know what they are yet. They're just going to be very different from ChatGPT. Some experts actually say that generative AI technologies could possibly help Chinese government to control content online and separate further China's internet from the rest of the world because of the possibility that companies can or may filter some sensitive data out of the text data that they use to train their large language models, as well as the layers of censorship that could kick in at the prompt and the output level.
All right, that was our reporter, Shen Lu. Thanks for joining us.
Thanks, Zoe.
And speaking of generative AI, a quick reminder before we close the show that we want to hear your questions on the topic. Do you want to know more about the new Baidu product, Lensa, or Google's Bard? Interested in how these AI programs work or what they're capable of? Email us a voice recording with your AI question to tnb@wsj.com or leave us a voicemail on 415-439-6482. We look forward to hearing from you. That's it for today's Tech News Briefing. I'm Zoe Thomas for the Wall Street Journal. Thanks for listening.